Welcome back to the Unexplained Archives, the place where you come to hear everything paranormal. I am one of your hosts. I am Jen.
Hey, Jen. I'm Jaime, the other host.
How's it going?
Good. It's going good. Yeah.
Good.
It's been a little stormy here, but I kind of like it. Yeah. Except for when I lose power, and that's no fun. But yeah, I'm a big fan of thunderstorms.
Yeah, I was going to say we were going to record yesterday, but Jaime lost power.
And I did.
It's kind of par for the course this time of year in Oklahoma.
It is. Right? Yes, it is. It is storm season, but yeah, I don't mind it. I find it a little exhilarating, you know.
Good.
So.
Good. Good. I have to laugh. I actually, so I've been out of town. I went out of town to Pennhurst Asylum, to the Paracon, and we're going to talk more about that today. But in last week's episode, when we were talking about the butterfly people of Joplin, I made the mistake of saying, oh, here in Michigan, we don't really get a whole lot of tornadoes. Yep. And sure enough, as soon as I leave, I don't even know how many tornadoes hit the state of Michigan.
Wow. Yeah.
So it is storm season everywhere. So my apologies to the state of Michigan because I jinxed us.
That's right.
And we got hit with some tornadoes, mostly on the west side of the state, it sounds like. So yeah.
I hope everybody's okay.
Yeah, I think, yeah, it's just a tricky time of year. And so everyone be careful out there with the storms.
Yeah, for sure. Maybe you have the opposite effect as Annabelle. Like when you leave, disasters happen.
Yes, absolutely.
The Annabelle. Speaking of Annabelle, so she's on tour.
She's on a world tour.
She is on a world tour. Even though Lorraine is probably not okay with this.
She's probably turning over in her grave.
Yes, she is. Yes. So she's going across the USA against the wishes of Ed and Lorraine. I would love to follow along this journey. Some crazy stuff has already happened. So the experts, not just Ed and Lorraine, but paranormal experts across the board have said she should never be moved. Ever. She should stay in the museum and keep getting blessed with holy water and never be moved. But lo and behold, she is making her way across the USA. Some crazy stuff has happened.
It has.
So she was in New Orleans, right?
She was.
There was a jailbreak, so 10 inmates escaped. Shortly. Yeah.
They did,
and 5 of them are still at large.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't think they even have everyone back yet.
No, that's crazy. And so so people, especially on TikTok, you'll see a lot of videos, a lot of social media are blaming Annabelle for that. Also, the fire. Yes,
at the plantation down, wasn't it?
Yes, it was a plantation. And it was unexplained. Happened to happen just when Annabelle's there. So
you never know.
You never know.
So I think we're going to keep an eye on this one.
Yes. I know we were talking about it, and like I'm trying to find a schedule. I want to know. I know it lists the places she's going. I know that she'll be in Gettysburg, Pennsylvania on July 11th. So we'll keep an eye on that and try to get some updates. But I was watching some YouTube videos on it because I'm just fascinated about what's going on with Annabelle. And apparently the person that's driving her is just a nervous wreck. And
I would imagine.
So I mean, just
that thing.
There's no way. There's
not enough holy water on the planet.
No.
For you to jump in a vehicle with her.
No way.
You'd have to be telling her sweet nothings the whole car ride.
Right.
Anything get out.
Yeah, and I also saw something where there was like a truck explosion on the highway, and so it's just like a trail of disaster. So
I feel like
I'm
there's
interested.
yeah, I mean, that's a whole other movie in itself.
It
You
is,
know?
yeah.
Yeah, they could do a whole Annabelle story on her tour and the crazy path she has she leaves behind each city.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And I
Oh,
guess apparently it was the nephew that gave permission for her to
yeah.
be moved across the
Yeah,
country.
Mirror
Yeah.
Amp.
Yeah. So it's interesting.
Yeah.
Um, what do you think? What do you think about Annabelle being moved?
I don't listen, I feel like, say whatever you will about Ed and Lorraine Warren, I feel like they know their artifacts the best. I mean, there's a
Yep.
reason they contained everything the way they
Right.
did. So part of me feels like you should probably just listen. I mean, I get it. Like, this is a really cool idea, and they do the same thing with Robert the doll. Yeah,
Right.
there's several, I don't know, cursed and haunted dolls out there.
Hmm.
Robert is one where you can get a picture with Robert, but you have to ask permission to get a picture with Robert. And so he seems fine. You just have to ask. And with Annabelle, though, she's a loose cannon. There's no,
Yeah.
you can't talk to her about nothing. She
No.
doesn't care.
No.
She doesn't care.
No. Nope.
And so, so I don't know. I think I would have been like, listen, if you want to meet Annabelle, you can come to us. And
Right.
people do. I think people do come to Connecticut and visit
Yeah.
that museum as well. So
Right.
I'm sure this is making them a boatload of money. I have no
Yep.
doubt.
Oh yeah. For
But
sure.
like,
Yep.
at what cost, though? At what
Yeah,
cost?
exactly. I guess we'll see. I
Yeah.
guess we will see. So I know that she's still, well, so she was just in San Antonio. I don't think I've heard of any
I haven't yet.
huge happenings there.
Yeah.
But I know she's going to Illinois and Kentucky, and then again Gettysburg on July 11th. So we'll keep an eye
Yeah,
on that.
All these things are sold out too. It looks like
Yeah.
we went online and it's selling out. People want to see her. People want to meet her.
Yeah, they do. If I was a developer, I would develop a Annabelle tracker app.
Yeah,
so
1,000%.
People out
there, like, I can't do anything like that, but maybe someone of our listeners could do something like that. We would love an Annabelle tracker. We want to know, and then put like all the disastrous things that have happened in her wake as she goes through towns.
Yes,
this is the type of app I want.
Me too.
Yeah,
I would get that in a heartbeat.
Yeah, just call it Cursed Objects Tour, and it could be anything. You could track anybody and any object. I think it'd be great. But yeah, we want to know what's going on with Annabelle, because
that's right.
And heaven help anybody if she's coming to your town.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
In my mind, I picture this like trail of fury. You know what I mean? Everywhere she goes.
Right. Yeah, exactly. I don't know. They're gonna have to get some like super soakers and just spray that case down.
Yeah, some holy
people like on either side.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like spraying it out.
They open the doors of the truck and just fire hoses.
Right.
That'd be awesome.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
That's
so
cool.
we'll definitely, we'll keep our eye on the situation for sure.
Yeah. Sounds good.
Because it is a little I mean, he just, I don't know. It's a little weird, the things going on. So
I know. I mean, I know it's like funny, not funny, but like every little thing that's happened, like we had those bad storms, the power went out. I'm like, I wonder if Annabelle's going through Oklahoma right now.
Exactly. Yeah, Jamie and I have a new saying: if something's going wrong in your life, just blame Annabelle. Clearly,
that's right.
She's nearby.
That's right. She is nearby. That's right.
Things are going to hell. She's close.
Exactly. Exactly.
This might explain our last few weeks, Jamie. Like,
I know.
Run into some bad luck. So
yes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Watch, like, the whole time you were going to Pennsylvania, like, she's just been behind you the whole
time.
Like,
so true. She had to. The hotel I stayed in was probably great before she got there.
Yeah. The room was beautiful before you got
Yeah.
there, but Annabelle passed by and no, it went to crap after that.
Yep. Oh my gosh.
Oh,
That's so
well, good.
funny.
Good deal. Yeah. So we'll keep an eye. We'll keep you all posted what's going on with that crazy doll. And
Yes.
yeah. So yeah. So Jaime went to Pennsylvania and came back, and then
I
I went
did.
to Pennsylvania and came back.
I know. Quit following me
Yeah.
around.
I
Gosh.
know. I'm like the other Annabelle. Maybe it's me. Put her
Maybe.
back in her case.
Exactly.
Like the public and all my ex-boyfriends. Put her back in her case. Get her out of here.
Yeah. I can't believe you let her out.
Yeah, why did you let her? You guys knew better. We told you. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
So my exciting trip was to Spring City, Pennsylvania. We went to Pennhurst Asylum.
That's so
Uh,
exciting.
it was very cool for Paracon. And so today's episode is going to be all about Pennhurst Asylum. I've learned a lot. I think I had some misconceptions about the place, and so this was really good for me
Okay.
to do some
Good.
research and learn some things. Before we get started, though, I do want to give a quick shout out to my hairstylist, Lainey, and her mom Kelly, because first of all, Lainey is the one who takes care of this beautiful weave all the time.
Woo.
She takes really good care of it. Like she's the best. I tell her, I'm like, if you quit doing hair, I'm just gonna start shaving my head because I
Yeah.
don't know if no one else, I've never met anybody who has the kind of patience that she does with all my hair. Like she does it, she curls it every time I leave. I look real good. And no one else will do that. They usually just wash my hair and they're like, okay, see you later. Like they don't even dry it. They're like,
Yeah.
and so Lainey is the best. And I had told her we were doing a podcast, and she likes the paranormal. She likes to hear the stories, but like not really go and do the things. And so she was kind of like, I keep her up to date with what we're doing, but she started listening to the podcast. She told her mom, Kelly, and now Kelly is sending us things for places that we can go visit and talk about on the
Great.
show.
I
So
love
thank you,
that.
Kelly. This has been awesome. And I appreciate you guys listening and for the support. So
I love it. That is
yes,
awesome.
yes. So that's been wonderful. But yeah, so I'm going to tell a little bit about Pennhurst Asylum. And then I thought maybe towards the end, I could tell a little bit about Paracon and our experience there. It was my first paranormal convention. I'd never really been. So
okay.
yeah, have you ever been to one?
I have at the Crescent.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. Yes.
Yes, and it was awesome. It was more like it was called ESP, so it was more of a psychic convention, but it had a little bit of everything,
That's cool.
So
yeah,
it was really neat.
Yeah. That's really, really good. Yeah, I loved it. I'm excited to go back again. So yeah, well, I will share my experience there. But yeah, let's talk a little bit about Pennhurst Asylum. And the first thing I didn't know about is that it wasn't always called Pennhurst Asylum. That is actually the kind of like we actually had run. When I say I did go with my friend Amy, and if anyone has listened to the prior episodes, Amy and I just happened to meet at Mansfield, Ohio, at the Ohio State Reformatory.
Yeah.
We just happened to sit next to each other, and she was by herself, I was by myself, and we just struck up a friendship. So this is like the second time we've seen each other. So she took a real gamble there that I wasn't
right.
at house, right?
Yeah. I hope you didn't disappoint.
Yeah, I hope not. Yeah, I hope not. Yeah, because we got an Airbnb together and we drove together and we did all the things. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, it was really cool. So yeah, so we've really struck up a friendship. She tours all over the place, some really cool places to do ghost hunting and tours and things like that. So we had a great time. But her and I had run into somebody who explained to us that Pennhurst Asylum is actually kind of the name of the haunt, kind of like what they've kind of created since its closing.
Okay.
And so really it had another name before that. And I do want to kind of give a trigger warning about this week's episode. It is very hard to hear. I mean, it was a place for people with disabilities. And the conditions were awful. It kind of went downhill fast. And so I do want to warn everybody. It's a little tough to hear some of the things. So, but we'll get through it. We'll get through it together, right? So Pennhurst opened in 1908 in Spring City, Pennsylvania, which, by the way, Pennsylvania, amazing, right?
It's so amazing. It's so amazing. I was blown away. I mean, I've driven through it, but I've never really spent a lot of time there. And I was just like, this is awesome. It's awesome. It's beautiful.
One of the most underrated states in America. Because people don't say, oh, I'm vacation, I'm heading out to Pennsylvania.
Right.
But should, because it is just, I mean, we drove through it last fall, gorgeous with the colors. Driving through it in the spring, just so green and beautiful.
So lush. Like,
oh my gosh.
Oh, it's just beautiful.
Yeah, it's amazing.
And the weather was so nice. And,
awesome. So we love you, Pennsylvania. So I can't wait. Honestly. And there's so much to do. There's so much to see. Like, there's just so much. So we'll be back.
Good food too. Like,
oh my gosh.
I had so much good food while I was there. Oh, it's amazing.
Yes. People don't talk about Pennsylvania enough.
No.
They're not talking about it enough. We're gonna start talking about you more.
That's right.
So originally, Pennhurst was kind of known as the Pennhurst State School and Hospital. And even before that, they referred to it as the Eastern Pennsylvania State Institution for the Feeble-Minded and Epileptic. So I'm really glad they changed the name on that one.
Yeah, that's a mouthful.
Fast, right? It's a little.
Yeah.
Let's just shorten it. We're just going to call right now. We're going to call it Pennhurst Asylum. We're going to keep it down to that. So it was a state-run institution for mentally and physically disabled people. It is now known for being one of the most haunted places here in America. And it is also said to be the inspiration for, if anyone has ever seen American Horror Story, Asylum. And it's funny because as I did research on this case, that's all I could think about was that show. Because I was like, like, this just sounds like a nightmare to be living in. So
and I think Asylum was probably my favorite American Horror Story season.
Asylum was great. Asylum was great. So when it opened, it was on 112 acres. But by the time it closed, it had spread out to about 1,400 acres. I'm not kidding you when I say this place is huge. I have never been so happy that I've been doing my cardio every morning. Had this been a few months ago, I would have been huffing and puffing trying to get from building to building, because it is just, and even like where we were parked, having to where we went, I was just like, okay, I'm doing okay. But it's a lot of walking, very spread out. There's so much to see, but vast. There's just a lot of space for this place. And it's really kind of in the middle of the woods. I mean, you've got to really drive into it to get to it. It's not off the road, you know?
Right.
I always joke that, so here in Michigan, we have Eloise Asylum, and that is in Westland, Michigan. And you'll just drive by. You just, boop, you're driving down the road. Eloise is, there it is. It's right to your left. It's right by the road. This is different. You got to get into there. So
see, that's the way I pictured it too. I was like, I just drive by.
Right.
No.
Yeah. You gotta go deep into the woods to get to this. So now I wasn't really clear. I've heard a couple of different stories. Originally, there were either around 30 to 40 buildings that were on the property. And there's still several buildings left. And that's a lot of what you can go in and tour. So some of the buildings that were there, they had an administration building, which is still standing, is pretty. And like, so I did buy a t-shirt. So this little symbol here is on top of the administration building. And it's kind of like their symbol for Pennhurst.
Cool.
So they had an assembly building, Devon Hall. They had Hershey Hall. There was an infirmary, industry building, Limerick, Mayflower, Penn Hall, Philadelphia Hall, Quaker, Rockwell, Tinicum, Union Hall, Vincennes, and then the superintendents had residence as well. I did find an amazing video that I would like to share in the show notes too. There's a guy who actually had the opportunity to visit where the doctors and the superintendents lived. Their houses were still intact, and they have since torn them down. But I want to share that because these places were amazing, and I'm so sad they took them down.
Yeah,
But yeah, so they were really something. These buildings are
I
just
bet.
really something to see. And then all the buildings are connected by an underground tunnel.
Ooh,
Yes, which
I
we were
love
actually
that.
able to get down into some of the tunnels
That's
and
so cool.
isn't it something?
Yes.
Yes. So Pennhurst had everything back in the day. They even had their own dairy farm. So people who lived there could actually go and work on the farm. There was a railway station that actually came to deliver coal and some of the other supplies that they needed to facilitate their powerhouse that was there. Um, the place was actually built just to have about 500 people living there. It didn't take long for overcrowding to begin to
Right.
happen. It was
Yeah.
really meant for about 500 people. At the time, society's views on mental health were way off, right? They were deeply flawed, often rooted in people being afraid because they didn't understand about anybody who
Right.
had disabilities of any kind.
Yeah.
So the state legislature actually deemed individuals with disabilities as unfit for citizenship and that
Wow.
they posed a problem to society. This led to the implementation of custodial care programs to keep these people from being a part of the general population.
That's
So
insane.
it is to think about nowadays. I'm just like, oh, good heavens.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
great. Mental health and people with disabilities are getting more and more rights. It's not like it used to be. There can still be more to improve.
Right.
But holy cow, it is not like it used to be.
No.
So places like Pennhurst were built for these people to not be a part of society, hence being deep in the woods, right? Kind of like we're going to keep them out there. So it is said that there were about 10,000 people who had come in throughout the years to stay at Pennhurst, and about half of them have said to pass away on the grounds.
Ooh, that gives me chills.
Right?
Like, yeah, it's like foreshadowing.
I know, isn't it? I know that
Oh,
it's a lot of people, like
that is a
5,000
lot.
people. And now I don't know how well record keeping was either when
Right.
people were passing away. So we may never know the truth
Yeah.
with an
Right.
exact number and reasons why people were passing away.
Ugh.
I know. So residents there did do jobs. Like I said, they worked on the farm. They also did cleaning and baking and laundry and the sewing. And sure enough, within just a few years came the overcrowding. They were actually forced to admit not only those with disabilities, but immigrants, orphans, and at some point criminals because the state prisons were getting overrun. So,
Wow.
yeah, it's just a mixed bag there. And
Uh-huh.
it was also a home for a lot of children. There were a lot of
Right.
children who lived there. So that is,
That's a recipe for disaster,
it,
you know?
it really is. It's
Yeah,
so sad.
it is.
Um, So by 1930, there were 1,300 patients. Keep in mind, there should have been only 500.
Right.
By 1939, there were 2,200 patients.
Oh, man.
Yeah, yeah, it was not good. And they were also incredibly understaffed. So
Mm,
by the 1960s, there were only 12 doctors to help at that point 3,000 residents that were there. 12,
oh, I can't even
yeah,
imagine.
no. So, I mean, people are pretty much all around. People on
Yep.
top of people. They don't have even the staff. No, that's doctors. And plus, in situations like that, you need nursing and
Right.
aides, and it just wasn't
Yeah.
enough.
No.
At one point, they even tried to get more funding from the state and were denied.
Huh.
So instead
Okay.
of fixing the problem, they just continued to run it as is. Yeah, at one point, I believe it was kind of referred to as the shame of Pennsylvania. Um, it was the conditions were just so terrible.
Yeah.
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 So there was one guy who a lot of people remember, who worked at the hospital, and his name was Dr. Jesse G. Fear. I kid you not, the man's name was Dr. Fear.
Wow.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh,
And
wow.
he lived up to the name, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he was actually found to be abusing a lot of the residents there. He was a
Oh,
sick man. He was actually using medication to kind of control everybody, but not in a good way, right? I mean, some medicine is good. He was abusing the medication.
right.
He was actually pitting patients against one another in order to lower their dignity and make
Hmm.
them easier to control. In fact, he had a name for it. He called it downgrading.
Okay.
Dr. Fear's aim was for, he wanted to actually cause a sense of isolation for these people that he was having trouble controlling. And kind of ridicule them in front of their peers, kind of basically like humbling them into submission. And unfortunately, all this really led to was mental anguish, and a lot of the people just kind of regressed developmentally.
Right.
I mean,
Yeah.
this wasn't a helpful tactic. It was just a sick tactic, like for him to try and get control.
Right. And I mean, in one way, I get that they needed control because they were really outnumbered, like what happens when you have, mentally unstable people, criminals, that you can be overtaken 12
Yes.
doctors, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like,
Yeah.
I get that he needed to have control, but the means were not the best choice.
It wasn't. It
to
wasn't
say
at
lightly.
all.
Yeah.
No, it wasn't. In fact, he went on to, he was kind of known for pulling teeth.
Oh.
Yeah. And from what I understand, a lot of the people that had their teeth pulled, they were not given anything to numb either.
Oh,
They
no.
were just pulling people's teeth.
Makes my mouth hurt.
Yeah, it's horrendous. And so this was for the patients who would bite, I mean,
Right.
and I understand. I mean, if they can't communicate, I mean, it's like a child that bites, right? Children
Right.
who bite are just trying, they're frustrated. They don't know how
Yeah.
to communicate their frustrations. So they're biting. I'm sure a lot of people were, these guys were doing the same. And so
Mhm.
instead of just taking care of the problem in a positive way, like he would just go ahead and pull out their teeth, which is
Wow.
horrendous.
Yes.
He also used injections to actually maximize people's pain. He would find the medications, and these were not medications that would, hinder people later on. I mean, there was no like after effects, but he discovered the ones that would hurt the most going in.
Oh.
And so he would actually use that as a form of control as well.
Wow.
Yes. And so the sad thing is that, and there are interviews on YouTube that you can find with Dr. Fear in which he admits to a lot of the stuff. You can tell he doesn't think he's done anything wrong.
Right.
And for doing this, he only faced a 30-day unpaid suspension.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So if there was any other repercussions for what he had done, it's not been found, but that seems to be the only thing. So yes. And so
that is
I
just
know,
mind-blowing.
Yes. I know that when people go to do ghost hunting, it is kind of rumored that Dr. Fear may still be there on the ground.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And so, but he was a terrible, awful man who did terrible, awful things to these poor people. It's hard to even think about.
Yeah. Yeah. It's very, I just can't get over that his name is Fear. How fitting.
Like what?
Yeah.
I do have to say, I Googled because I wanted to learn more about Dr. Fear. And sure enough, I actually found there is a dentist here in the Ann Arbor area by the name of Dr. Fear.
Oh. That's almost as bad.
Right? I'm like, there's no way. There's no way I am not going to go see the dentist named Dr. Fear.
Never. That would not happen.
Sorry, Dr. Fear of Ann Arbor. I just think that I can't.
Yeah. I think he should have gone by a pseudonym or something.
Oh, I would say my name so fast.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, I think if your last name is Fear, you got to change your name if you're going to go into the medical field. There's just no
100%.
eating anyone's mind. You know, Dr.
Yeah.
Fear. Forget it. So yeah.
That's crazy.
I know, right? So in 1968, a local news station aired a 5-part series on Pennhurst, and they called it Suffer the Children. The investigation revealed the shocking conditions in which they lived in. They discovered that the residents were malnourished. They were being restrained. So they were being like strapped in their beds, like with like ties, arms, legs, and subjected to physical and emotional abuse. I have heard also that some of the residents were also being sexually abused. You can actually find Suffer the Children on YouTube.
Okay.
I got in maybe about 3 minutes. That's about all I could handle. It's so much
heartbreaking. Yes.
Yeah, it's devastating. It's just, I can't even get over it. Yeah. So I couldn't watch much of it, but you get the hint, you get the idea of what was going on. It was just so many people. There were just so many people around that it had to be impossible. And I have to imagine there were some good people there working, but it's like, you can't take care of everybody. Like you can't be the ones to always, because there's just so many. Like how much can you so yes, so that was in 1968. Now in 1981, Time magazine, they highlighted Pennhurst's history of understaffing and the filth and the violence that was going on. So there was actually an article written in 81. By 1983, 9 of the employees were indicted for abusing the patients, including those in wheelchairs, and forcing residents to fight each other. Yeah. Yeah, awful. 1974, we saw the Holderman case, and it actually marked a turning point in really history when it comes to anyone in a hospital such as that. So a patient by the name of Terry Lee Halderman, she visited her parents for a weekend. She was a resident at Pennhurst, and they were actually alarmed. They noticed a lot of bruises on their daughter that they couldn't quite figure out why this was happening. So they ended up filing a class action lawsuit on behalf of the residents of Pennhurst. And they'd argued that their rights had been violated. Most specifically, the 8th and the 14th Amendment had been broken. I am terrible about my amendments. I only know a few of them.
Me too. Yeah. Me too.
So I'm excited. I want to get specific. Tell me more about the 8th and the 14th.
Right. Good.
So the 8th Amendment actually talks about cruel and unusual punishment, right?
Okay.
It should not be no more cruel and unusual punishment. The 14th talks about equal civil and legal rights to all citizens. So clearly those things had been broken in Pennhurst. And so this changed quite a bit at how things were being handled in hospitals such as this. It was U.S. District Court Judge Raymond J. Broderick's verdict, which confirmed the horrific conditions that were going on at Pennhurst. He noted the overcrowding, the understaffing, and lack of essential care programs. He highlighted the use of seclusion rooms. They actually used rooms in which they would, it sounds like solitary confinement.
Right. Yeah.
The use of the physical restraints, tying people down. And the use of psychotropic drugs that were being used to manage the patients that were there. And because they were drugging them, so because they didn't have enough staff to help them, so they would drug them to keep them docile so that so they didn't even necessarily need it. It wasn't anything to improve their health care. They just needed them calm and
under control.
And under control.
Yeah.
So here's the thing. This all began, the documentary was in 1968. All these other things happened, but it wasn't until 1987, December 9th of 1987. So about 20 years went by before they shut
Wow.
down. And I have to say, so many things that I was looking up, they were almost talking as if, after the documentary or after the cases, the civil lawsuit had come about, they almost made it sound like, oh, thank goodness, then they shut it down. But I'm like, wait a minute. I'm like,
It was
20 years
20
went by.
years.
Yeah.
That's 2 generations. You know what I mean? It's like,
1,000%.
what? Yeah.
I was like, that's a little under half my life. And
Right.
they
Yeah.
didn't do anything. And so, in my opinion, I think that something should have been done way sooner.
Mm-hmm.
And I get it, because it's like, what is the solution here?
Right.
However, when they did shut it down, a lot of the people, they actually moved into more like group homes. So there was smaller living situations. So it's not like completely overcrowded. Um, so so that was good. Yeah. So that is a little bit of history on Pennhurst.
I mean, just the history alone is chilling. So
Isn't it?
we haven't even got into the paranormal stuff
Right.
yet. Ah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, sometimes the history is scarier than the aftermath,
Yeah.
the hauntings that happen
Ugh.
after. Yeah. So yeah, as you can imagine, Pennhurst is notoriously haunted, with potentially like the people who may have passed away there.
Thousands.
Yep, literally thousands of people. Staff is actually said to still be haunting there. And of course, with places like this, and we've kind of talked about this with some of the larger places we've done cases on, it seems places like this tend to have very negative energy. Come on in, move on in,
Mm-hmm.
and sit there, because it wasn't the happiest of places to be, right?
Right.
So, I mean, there is definitely stories of demonic entities that have moved in. Um, I mean, misery loves company, so I can't. I'm not going to say that that's not a possibility. I mean, it's a dark place where some dark things happened, and when you just abandon things like that, I do think there's potential for negative to come in, and
Yeah.
there was a negative there, right? So,
Right.
um, so I have a few of the some of the things that people have seen or that they know about. Some of the famous ghosts that haunt the Pennhurst Asylum.
All right.
The first one is, he goes by the King. I'm not sure
Oh,
who gave him that nickname.
Elvis?
Yes, right. We found Elvis, everybody. He's been hanging
Yeah.
out at the asylum.
Yes.
Yes, so he is a very unfriendly entity, who is believed to be the ghost of a maintenance man who worked
Mm.
there during the 40s or 50s. His favorite place to be is the boiler room in the basement of the Mayflower building. He actually manifests himself as kind of a shadow figure, but he has plenty of energy, because he's been known to touch people, to hurt people, to choke people,
Whoa,
actually.
wow.
Yes,
Jeez.
so you have to be
He
very
is a
careful.
meanie.
He's not a nice fella.
No.
Nope. And cigar smoke is a common scent when he appears. So he likes his cigars. So when you go down to the boiler room, you may see cigarettes on the floor. People will leave them as trigger objects to see if they can get him to come around. And so yeah, so bring your smokes when you come for a ghost hunt over at the Mayflower building.
All right.
Yep. And so that will keep him happy for just a few minutes, but his attitude towards visitors changes very quickly. He does seem to like female visitors. And if you're lucky, he will actually answer questions that you ask him. So if you
Okay.
come via EVP sessions and spirit box sessions, things like that. But if he tells you to leave, you'd better leave.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. Investigators sometimes label him as a poltergeist and sometimes as a demonic entity. He has a very creepy laugh, from what I understand. I can't even imagine.
No.
Because we did go down. We went at night. We did go down to the Mayflower building, and it is dark.
Oh, I bet.
And we were by the boiler room, and I'll tell you what, like if I would have heard a creepy laugh, oh boy.
Yeah. You wouldn't even have to tell me to leave. I'd be like,
yeah,
okay, bye.
Yeah.
If I heard that. Yeah.
Yeah. Some will even say that there's a female spirit that is with him in the same room, and she actually tries to warn people, like if the king is not feeling like visitors,
if he's in a grumpy mood today,
right? Yeah, he's not in the mood for visits. And you can hear her tell people to run.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
And he doesn't seem to like her for warning people, because he'll just keep talking like through her, like, wow. So yeah. Isn't that wild?
Now, okay.
Yeah.
Ooh, did you get to hear anything? Did you experience anything in the boiler room?
So I didn't, and here's the thing, and that is so tough. I'm really loving my visits and doing all these things. I keep joking, we're gonna start a whole like section of like,
where is Jen now?
yeah. Where in the paranormal world is Jenny Gettner? Because I've been to quite a few places this year. I have quite a few places coming up, and so I'm super excited about it because I love them. It's super fun.
Yeah, I've got FOMO so bad.
Yeah. But that's okay, Jaime. We have at least one of those together.
That's right. Yeah,
we're good. And
yes.
So the hard part is your ghost hunting, and even though it's huge, right? It's so many different buildings, and you can really spread yourself out, but it is really difficult when there's so many people walking around. I mean, you're always hearing footsteps, and people are very very courteous and kind, because there were many people who would kind of be off in one of the rooms, and you could tell, I mean, it's pitch black, but you could tell they would have like different investigator type technology and tools, so you could see these like little lights, in the room. You could tell people were in there and investigating.
Right.
And so and there was actually a lot of rain that Thursday and Friday, a bit like when it kicked off. And so these buildings are not completely intact, so you get a lot of leaks and dripping, and so there's always these like little sounds. But here's what I will tell you that I had happen, and I actually jumped. A lot of these things, like, I'm pretty calm and cool like when these things happen, but I wasn't. This was before the ghost hunt even started, so I wasn't prepared. So we got one of the kind of the packages where Friday night we could do the ghost hunting, so we actually could go at night. And before then, they'd had a dinner for everyone in one of the buildings, which was really cool. They did it up super nice. There was like a stage in the building we were in, where they did Q&A sessions with a lot of the paranormal investigators that were there. And so after dinner, we were just sitting at the table, and I was listening to one of the Q&As, and out of nowhere on the floor, there was this huge black shadow that like darted from the table in front of me, like towards my feet. Ooh. And I jumped. I was, what is that?
Yeah.
I was not prepared at all to be like seeing stuff at that point.
Yeah.
Where there's so many of us together, and people are talking, and oh my gosh, but it was there long enough for me to see. It was like just like a roundish like figure that just came darting up, kind of came at my feet, and I was like, so I don't know what the heck that was. I looked around. I mean, obviously there were people around. I'm trying to debunk like a shadow situation here, but like, that's so dark and directional. And so I don't know what on earth that was.
I would jump too.
Yeah, I did. Like, yikes. So that was probably like, my biggest experience, but it was a little tough just because you have so many people.
Many people. Yeah, I totally know what you mean. Anytime I've actually been on paranormal investigation, there's just so many people.
Yes.
And the most that I've experienced is when we break off into 2 or 3 people.
Yeah.
You know, but when there's a crowd, it's hard because there's so much going on. Yeah.
There is. It's so tough.
And maybe stuff does happen, but it's hard to know, you know?
It totally could have been happening. There could have been things around us and it just wasn't, you know, we were just unsure. Yeah. 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 So, that's the king. And and so actually the Mayflower, where he's at, the Mayflower building, is known to probably be the most haunted area. You can actually hear slamming doors and footsteps and the sounds of people vomiting.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah. I have to imagine that's what's the word I'm looking for? Residual sound.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'm sure a lot of people who are sick. And so, that I have to imagine some of those things are very residual noises, and vomiting would probably be one of them.
Yeah.
They have also heard creepy music boxes playing, which I don't like that. And it seems to be coming from everywhere, but no one can actually locate where exactly. So it's like all different. It's all around, which
like is in stereo.
Yeah, exactly. And of course, you get disembodied voices telling people to go away. You hear that a lot. And people have also heard phrases as, "I'll kill you," "We're upset," and "I'm scared." So they've heard that quite a bit. The Quaker building is also known for being a dangerous place to go. So you have to use caution when going to the Quaker building. People have been scratched, choked, pushed, hit, and even had things thrown at them.
Wow.
A demonic entity is said to be causing the injuries. People have seen shadow figures there, including the apparition of a female child. Oh, this creeps me out, just the thought of it. She has long black hair and apparently like these long dangling arms.
Oh,
yeah.
No. Yeah, no. I could go my whole life without seeing that, for sure.
Exactly. I agree. Like that's a horror.
That's a movie. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, let's leave it.
Leave it.
Yes. Yeah. That's what I was thinking. Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
The Ring.
With her dark hair, dangling arms. No thanks.
No thanks.
No, I will feel awful if it's like the spirit of a child, but I want to be like, get your arms back to normal.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
Don't come at me with your dangly arms.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Get your hair out of your face and get your arms back to normal.
Right.
And then I'll have some empathy for you. But until then.
Yeah, I'm really sorry for your situation. However.
Yes. Yeah.
Comb your hair.
Yeah.
Yeah. So thank goodness I did not run into her.
Good.
But inside the Limerick building, people have reported seeing an apparition of a woman who's like in an old style nurse's uniform, which not too shocking. And then honestly, throughout all the buildings, people report hearing children talking and playing and singing, crying. So yeah, it was very, there were a lot of kids there, a lot of kids. So, not too surprised. But yeah, I mean, Pennhurst today, you can go for tours. They do historical tours. They set on Saturdays, so you can just come on by and get tickets for that. I'm going to leave their website too in the show notes so everyone can see. Oh my gosh. If this is your thing, which it's got to be your thing if you're listening to us, go visit, get the historical tour. The people, once again, I said this when we were at the reformatory. I mean, the staff couldn't be any better. I mean, the volunteers who were there, they're so knowledgeable, so kind. I know when we were doing our ghost hunt, we were kind of getting lost. We kept ending it back at the same point. It was like the same volunteer who kept seeing us, and she'd be like, "Hi, you're back again. Where can I send you now?" Like,
that's so
many places to go. We kept ending back at the same point.
Right.
And so yeah, so nice. So yeah, go get a tour with them. They do have a haunted attraction which they do there in the fall. So you can go get spooked by the real ghosts and then some fake ones. Yeah. And then of course they have Paracon in May, which
Yes.
I'm going to share with you. Yeah, some of the fun we had at Paracon. I am excited. I'm like ready to go back. It was huge. I don't know what I expected, but there was so much to see. I thought we would, like, by Sunday, I thought, oh, we may not even go, or we'll just go for a little bit. Cause I felt like we got there on Friday for the ghost hunting. So we got a chance to kind of look around there. And then we had all of Saturday. I'm telling you, there were things we didn't get done. Like, there were things we wanted to do, we didn't even get a chance to do because there's so much
huge.
to do.
Yeah,
so huge.
That's great.
Yeah.
So it was worth it. It was definitely
totally
worth it.
Oh my God. Yeah. It was really awesome. They had a huge array of like vendors. So I did a lot of shopping. And get this, I got my Pennhurst t-shirt, but you know what I didn't get? I didn't get a coffee mug. I didn't get a coffee mug. What was I thinking?
I don't know.
What was I thinking? I don't even know. I did find a really cool. So I have I don't know. I'm trying to I don't know if I'm trying to help it or not. I have a really sick sense of humor about some things, and serial killers are one of them. And so I have kind of always wanted, I see them around at different events like this. Like, it's always like a Jim Jones, like Kool-Aid cup, like reference thing. And I feel really guilty about it, but I can't help but kind of like giggle when I see things like this. Yeah. And so I finally treated myself to a Jim Jones mug. I think it just says, it's got his picture on there. It says drink up. And I know it's not okay, but I can't help.
But it's so wrong. It's right. Right.
I was like, oh yeah. And there was a whole tent of things like this. Like, they had like Ed Gein stuff. Like, I bought a little plaque that said, like, if you're not comfortable in your own skin, then maybe find someone else's. Like, this stuff is like, I don't know. Yeah. I'm sorry, everyone. I'm sick. I'm wrong. But no. But what are you going to do?
Clever. It's so clever though. Who can resist?
I know, right? So yeah, so I didn't get a Pennhurst mug, but I got a Jim Jones mug. So next time I'll get a mug.
Well, when I go, I will get you a mug.
Okay. So I did find I have a weakness for like little crocheted figures. They're just so cute. And I can't crochet. I wish I could. I should just learn how to do this stuff, but I just don't really have the patience, I think, for it.
I made it through half a pot holder one time.
Okay, good. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that sounds like me. Like, I want to do these things. Like, I took a sewing class once, and I took a cake decorating class, and the teacher actually used my stuff as examples on what not to do. Oh, so I can't. I'm not even kidding. Like, she was like, okay, like, held up my cake and was like, okay, so don't do this. And I was like, oh my God.
Wow.
Yeah. I didn't go back. Wow. I did not go back. Yeah. So I'm not.
Wow. Was her name Dr. Fear?
I know, right? She was like, I'm Instructor Fear. I'm here to teach you all how to bake.
Yeah.
Should have ran out the door then. I should have known. Yeah. I should have known she was coming for me. No, I don't know what exactly. It's like. Part of me feels like arts and craftsy. Like, I like to think of myself as being like, I don't know, like, I do photography. I'm a filmmaker.
Yeah.
But I'm not a sewer and I'm not a baker, apparently. So, and I can't crochet, but I did find, like, I found some super cute things I couldn't resist. I want to show, like,
let's see.
Because it kind of goes to the shelf. But I found, so I got this little guy. He's a little goat.
Oh, I love him.
Little baby Baphomet. He's so cute.
That is awesome.
And so these people did, like, they had like a whole booth and they had larger ones or whatever. So you can imagine, I also bought, I don't know if you can see behind me. Hayden decorated my shelf. He was like, oh, I'm so excited. He's like, so he's been redoing my spooky shelf here.
I love it.
But so I showed off, like, I got a little chicken. I thought this was so cute. And then I got a little alien in a flying saucer, but I only, when I came home, I only showed the kids the chicken and the flying saucer because I know how Gabby feels about my Ouija boards. So I could only imagine how she would feel about
it. Yeah.
And so Hayden goes digging through the bags and he's like, "What's this one?" and pulls it out with Gabby right there. I know, it's so silly. Like, I hide these things from my I sneak in all my devil worshiping stuff and I try to get it in the house, but then Hayden finds it. And so she was like, she's looking at it and she's like, "Is that the devil? Did you bring the devil into our house?" And I was like, "No, it's not the devil." I'm like, he's just a demon. He's not even the devil.
He's just a demon. He's not the guy.
Yeah, come on.
He's just one of the guys. You're going to come home and there's going to be a glass case waiting for you.
I know.
And then you're going to be closed in it with all your little crocheted figurines around you. Mom, get in the box.
Yeah, get in the box, Mom. With all your goat heads and Ouija boards.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was trying to be so sneaky and it didn't work. So she just kind of, she gets like this face. Like, if everyone, I don't know if everyone's familiar with when Dana Carvey back in the 80s used to do that skit, The Church Lady, on Saturday Night Live.
Oh yeah.
She gets that look on her face and she's like, "So, brought the devil in our house, I see."
Is that the, what isn't that special? Is
right,
yeah. Special. Yes.
So yeah, so I tried to sneak my stuff in.
I'm crying.
Yeah.
Crying.
Well, I'm sorry. He was just adorable. It could have been larger.
He's adorable.
Yeah, he could have been one of the giant ones. I was trying to compromise.
Yeah, exactly.
Just a little demon, not a huge one. Everyone calm down. So
That's
yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So
I love it.
Yes.
I love it.
So yeah.
Wow.
So yeah.
What a fun week.
It was. Also there were well-known paranormal investigators, which was really cool. Which is a lot of these that I've been going on, you get, TV personalities have been at these places, so it's been really, really cool. This was like a ton, and so because we went on Friday night, they had a mixer you got to go to beforehand. And so you could just go and hang out a little bit before the dinner that they put on. So we made it there, and as soon as we walked in, I looked over because I saw there was a line. We were trying to get to the bar, but there was another line, and I look at the line, I'm following it, and right there is Dakota Layden. He is known for being on Project Fear, which is he was on oh gosh, what was the original show? Because he had a show on travel, and it was Destination Fear. That's what I'm looking at. So Destination Fear. It's his sister and his best friend Tanner. Yeah, they go to different places. Well, travel. I have learned that Travel Channel has pretty much canceled all their paranormal shows for the most part, which makes me sad. Okay. However, I have learned that a lot of the investigators they're kind of going on their own. So if you go on YouTube, a lot of them have their own shows. Amazon, you can find. So now they have started Project Fear, and they're kind of doing the same thing that they were doing, same group. And they're out and they're investigating, which is really cool. But he's standing there and you're getting, pictures, he's doing pictures with people. And we finally figure out where the bar is. And then I look ahead of me, right in front of us. And I'm like, it looks like Dave Tango. But I'm like, no, this can't be from Ghost Hunters. And then all of a sudden I look up at the bar because someone turns all the way around and is like, "Hey," and it's Steve Gonzalez.
No. Wow.
Yeah. And so I was
cool.
Oh my gosh, that's definitely Dave Tango, because I'm sorry, Steve Gonzalez and Dave Tango, if you don't watch Ghost Hunters, they are I'm sorry, they're the cutest couple. I mean, they're just
two peas in a pod.
They are the best of friends, and they're total opposites. But they just go well together, and it's just adorable. So I was like, oh my God, that is Dave Tango right in front of us.
That is awesome. Very cool.
So, yeah. So that was really, they were just there. I didn't even know they were going to be at the mixer. And so that was, that was awesome for me. So, but we got a drink, and actually we decided to get 2 drinks so we didn't have to try to fight the line again.
Right. One for each
So
hand.
exactly.
Yep.
You could definitely have one for each hand. And I thought, so I'm a bit, when it comes to drinking nowadays, like, it doesn't take much for me at all.
Same. Yeah.
Yeah. And so there was enough liquor in the one. And so I was already feeling pretty good.
Brave. Feeling brave?
Yeah, I felt so brave. I was so brave. And that's the scary thing, because you never know what's going to come out of my mouth when I'm feeling that brave.
Yeah.
So, but it was, so, I mean, there was Dakota there. I think at one point we saw Tanner was walking around the room. And then they had some actors too that were there from horror films and TV shows. And so the actor Tyler Mane, who is he plays Michael Myers in the Rob Zombie film.
Yeah.
And he does other things too. And he plays Sabretooth in the X-Men movies. Oh,
yeah.
And so he was walking around so tall. Oh my gosh, so tall. Handsome. He's a handsome fella too. And got the beard going on, which I like. And so, so he was there taking pictures with people. And
that's great.
I saw Chris Williams hanging out. And so,
nice.
So this was really cool. So, but by the time we had made it to the dinner, I don't want to say I was 3 sheets to the wind, but I was feeling good.
Liquid bold.
I was feeling bold. Yes. So we came into the dinner, and I can't even remember. We looked right over to our right, and at a table, there's the Ghost Brothers, who I love. I love them so much, the Ghost Brothers. They're just so funny and fun. And it takes you a minute. You're like, oh my gosh, they're there. Like, there they are. And then in front of me was like Jason Hawes from Ghost Hunters. Like, he's there. And then I think Chris had come back in at that point, and they're chatting, where I'm just like, oh my gosh, this is just like, it was like an overload.
Yeah.
So we're walking to find a table. And of course I see Steve Gonzalez again. And so, but this time I have some alcohol in me. So I was like, hey, Steve.
Hey, bestie.
I know.
It's me again.
Tango. Like, we're the best of friends. We're the 3 best friends.
That's right.
Anyone could have. So, of course, he's so nice, just going along with it all. And just like, hey, how's it going? I mean, you should not drop me in a room full of like famous paranormal investigators while I've been drinking. It's not good.
Fangirl it out.
Right. Yep. So everyone rolled with the punches. It was really good. But awesome. So then they had like a buffet style dinner, and so we could actually get up, and we stood in line. And so Amy knows some of the shows, but maybe not all of the shows. And so she was not familiar with Project Fear. And so we were standing in line, and it was Tanner and, it was Tanner and Alex from Project Fear. And I know what they were doing. They probably were told, jump in line, get some food, because during that time they were doing Q&As on stage. So while we were eating, we could kind of watch them on stage. So they kind of had to eat quick so they could go and do their thing. And they were super polite about it, but they go to Amy. They're like, I'm sorry, is it okay if we step in here? And she's like, okay, yeah, go ahead. And then of course she looks at me and she's like, oh, they must be really hungry. And I was like, they're from Project Fear. I'm like, it's okay.
That's so funny. Wow. They're so hungry.
Yeah.
I guess if you're hungrier than me, go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead.
That's hilarious. I love that.
Yes. So I was like, it's okay. They're celebrities. They're allowed to go in line in front of us. Yeah. Yeah. And they were super polite. Like, Tanner's a really fun-loving type of guy. So he was so nice. But it was funny because she did not know who they were. So.
That's cute.
So the Q&As were really, really interesting. Ghost Hunters got to go up first and answer questions. Project Fear, Ghost Brothers got to go up, which was great. Nice. And then Nick and Tessa Groff were there. Nick and Tessa, they have a show of their own, Deathwalker. But Nick Groff was one of the original cast members of Ghost Adventures.
Okay.
And so
that name sounded familiar to me,
yes.
but I couldn't remember from what.
Yes, exactly. So
Nice.
I will tell you, over the weekend, there was a lot of Zach Bagans talk and questions. People had a lot of questions about that because nobody likes Zach Bagans. No one likes Zach Bagans. He is like enemy number one. I mean, there is a lot of what do I want to say? Like, there's a lot of talk. There's a lot of controversy. There's some feuds going on amongst the TV paranormal investigators right now involving Zach Bagans and how much control does he have over network shows. I know right now. So Nick Groff and I know Amy Bruni have kind of gone back and forth. I mean, Nick has claimed for a while that Zach is the reason why his shows don't stay on travel. Jason Hawes has even come out and just said, because a lot of it is like, how much power can one person have, right? Can this guy actually have people fired and shows canceled? And Amy Bruni is saying, no way. She's like, it's not even possible. Now, Jason Hawes has now done an interview and said, yeah, it's possible. He said, people have come to me from the network and have said, hey, is anyone you don't want around anymore? Any of these shows you don't want around? Yeah, which is, so it's not so much like the person on the show goes up and says, hey, you need to get rid of them. The networks want to keep their moneymakers happy, Ghost Hunters clearly being one of them. The highest rated shows. And so Jason says, yes, it's possible that someone could have come to Zach and said, who's bugging you? And he could have said Nick Groff, and there goes the shows. I don't know, but it's really hitting. I still call it Twitter. I'm not going to call it X.
I know.
But the Twitter scene is buzzing with these feuds kind of going back and forth. And Tessa Groff has jumped in now, and Dakota has jumped in because Dakota has even mentioned that Destination Fear is no longer on, probably because of Zach. So, and because, Dakota is one, he got his start on Ghost Adventures as well. He came on and did a lot of camera work and investigating with them. So the claim is that Zach felt threatened by these shows, and now they're gone. And the deal is that they're pretty much all gone now.
So
all the different, it is so sad. A lot of the Ghost Hunters are kind of doing their own thing. People from Ghost Hunters are, doing their own thing. Ghost Adventures is still on. And then Josh Gates was also a guest there. We did not get to meet Josh because he is a popular guy. He has his shows on travel, and but he was the only one there that still had their show on travel. That was it. Everyone else has kind of gone on their own. Yeah, so that was kind of interesting. Ghost Brothers, I found, had a great Q&A because they talked about a little bit of their difficulty at their start of doing this. I had no idea, but they had only been ghost hunting one time before their show started.
Oh, wow.
And it was just, they went out and they did some ghost hunting and they uploaded it to YouTube. And I swear they said 5 years later, someone contacted them from travel because they were looking to start a show with a all black cast.
Wow.
So they were the only people they could find.
Wow. You just never know. Yeah.
You have no idea.
Do your thing and see what happens.
You just see what happens. And the sad thing is when their show started, they said they actually were getting death threats.
Wow.
Yes. A lot of, they've faced a lot of racism during this time, which I had no idea. I don't know. I'm living in a world where I'm just like, really? This stuff, come on.
I just can't believe it.
It's can't believe
heartbreaking.
It is. And so to hear that, I was like, oh my gosh. And then they also told a very scary, heartbreaking story about during COVID, they were doing Zoom things together with fans, and they would just do Zoom meetings, and they would take questions from fans. And one time they actually had somebody come in and kind of crash and take over the Zoom meeting, and they were showing horrible photos of like young Black kids being
Oh my
lynched.
gosh.
And yeah, it sounded horrible. Like,
That's so,
who does
I
that?
I can't even imagine anyone
No,
being that evil. That's just pure
no,
evil.
it is. And there was just
Yeah.
all these images, and the Ghost Brothers couldn't do anything to stop it. They didn't know where it was coming from. And so
Right.
it was just a bad situation. But I thought that was really, I'm so glad they shared those stories. I felt like I
Yeah.
learned a lot about that. But yeah, their first episode of Ghost Brothers was literally the second time they'd ever gone ghost hunting.
Wow.
Yes. So now look
Good
at
for
them. But
them.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, they're so great. So I was really glad um, we got to see them. So they were ones that I was really wanting to meet, and I didn't know. We kind of saved a lot of the, meeting everyone in person for like Sunday. And so they were gone by Sunday. I had no idea. So I met the
Oh,
Ghost Brothers. So I'm hoping there'll be something else where I can meet them again, because
I'm
yeah,
sure. I'm
they're
sure.
awesome. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, and we went off and did our investigation on Friday. So we spent quite a bit of time in like the Mayflower. We were in the Quaker building. Like I said, we did the underground tunnels.
Oh yeah.
One of the cool things is you could actually borrow like some of their ghost hunting equipment.
Oh
So
nice.
we got to test out some things. And one of the things that we both of us, both Amy and I, had wanted to try out was the grids, like the light up grids you can
Oh
get.
yeah.
So you come out green colored, and
Uh-huh.
so that way, if something kind of passes in front, it kind of makes it stick out a little bit more
Right.
in the
Yeah.
dark room. And
Uh-huh.
so we kind of tested that out. The only thing I saw while doing that was what I believe to be a bat. So
Oh,
I'm
you're probably right. Those old
so,
buildings.
oh my gosh, I'm so over the bats. Like, this is the
Yes.
problem. Like, you go to these
Yeah.
buildings, and like I need like a bat hat or something.
Yeah.
Like, I need something to like cover myself. I mean, and
Yes.
I don't hate, like, don't hate bats. Like, I love what they do for us. I
Yeah.
love, like,
Insect
I've seen all these
control
interesting,
and yeah.
yes. And they have like their community together. There's so many things. Like, they're so smart, and they do all these, like, I don't know, but I don't want them in my face.
Yeah,
I
no,
don't
I
want
just
them,
don't
like,
like
and
them. I hate
they,
them.
yeah. Jamie's like, they could deliver my newspaper every day, and I wouldn't want them around.
Nope.
Yeah.
No
She could be
bats.
the smartest bat in the room. She'd be like, get out of
That's
here.
right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah, the problem is that they come at your head.
Yes, they
Like,
do. They swoop down at you.
yes.
Ah,
And I'm not here for that at all. Just stop that. If they could just
I know.
stop that, it'd be fine. But no, every
Yeah.
time I go ghost hunting, and they're just there. So I think that's about the only thing I saw on the grid, like, coming,
Yeah.
was a bat. So I was like,
Yeah.
ugh. One of the most interesting places that I think both Amy and I really enjoyed going down into was the Tinicum basement. You couldn't really go to the rest of the building. I think they had a lot of it closed off, but you could go down into the basement. I'm pretty sure that's where the bat was.
Oof.
But I don't know. That had a feel to it.
Yeah.
There's something there, and it's one of those things where you keep walking. You go into room after room after room, and
Yeah.
it just keeps going. It's
Oh.
yeah. So I mean, don't get me wrong, I would love to go to Pennhurst when no one else is around, in a
Yeah.
sense.
That's what I want to do. Maybe we can plan a trip
Yeah,
and
and
just
see
do
if they
a smaller
yeah
tour,
yeah
So,
because I believe it. I believe the stories, and I believe all the things, because I mean, come on, how could it not be? But I would love to experience
yeah,
more. It's tough to
for
do
sure.
with a large room, but so I mean, that was our Friday. Saturday, we got a
Love
chance
it.
to like walk around, and I did some shopping. We went to more Q&As that they had there, which were so interesting. Like, we watched the ghost hunters. I mean, I could just sit and watch the ghost hunters. They have so many stories, and Steve Gonzalez is very, very funny. He always has something funny to say.
Yeah.
And there was one thing I noticed. It was Dave Tango. people would get up and they would say things like, oh, it's such an honor to be here or to be talking with you, or, I've been watching, for so many years and I'm just a huge fan. And every time someone would compliment them like that, like Tango would have this, and not in a bad way. I don't want to say like a flinching, but you could tell it like shocked him or surprised him to even hear those things. Like he
was humble.
So humble.
Yeah.
Yes. He just came across so humble that it surprised him that even decades later, people are saying this stuff to him. And we did get
sweet.
Right? It was just really, really sweet. Like I think he's just a good guy, and I'm surprised to hear these things, but it's true. I mean, they've been doing this for a long time. So many people look up to what they're doing, and the show is great. So yeah, and so we did get a chance. We got up close and met with the ghost hunters that were there, and I was still kind of standing in line. So Sherry was there from Ghost Hunters, and she had her jewelry line there, and we were kind of like, while in line, we were peeking at the jewelry, and I kind of got this sense like someone was looking at me, and I looked up, and it's Sherry looking back at us shopping, like looking. And I was like, hi. I was like, we're just checking out the jewelry. And she's cool. Like, oh, yeah. And so I ended up getting a really cool bracelet from Sherry. And we've determined that Jason Hawes takes the best selfies. I wish I could take him around with me wherever I go, because I'll post the picture. But I was like, I look adorable in this picture.
Yeah.
I was like, he was doing different
He's got angles. That right angle.
I was like,
yeah.
You know what you're doing. And
That's
I feel good. Woo! But yes, so Jason Hawes, he has got a backup career in case this whole ghost hunt doesn't work out for him. He could become a photographer. But yeah, so, and then that's when I got a chance I saw Steve again, and I'm pretty sure he mentioned the backpack. I did bring my backpack back. I brought the Haunted Mansion backpack. It really, people love the backpack.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and so he said something about that, and got a chance to talk with Dave Tango a little bit more. And like I said, you could just tell, just a kind guy. Yeah. We stood in line for quite a bit. We met Amy Brony and Adam Berry of Kindred Spirits. They were original members. I mean, originally they were on Ghost Hunters, and then they got their own show, Kindred Spirits, and super nice as well. And I actually, while in line to meet them, we signed up. They are going to be, Amy does these, they call them strange escapes, where she does different tours at different haunted places too. So we signed up to go on the Queen Mary.
Ooh, I would January. Love that.
Yes. I have always wanted to go.
Yeah.
So yes,
cool.
I'm excited about that. So we told her we'll see her then, and she said not to tell anybody, but it's just us, right? It's just sure I can say. So we'll just keep
earmuffs, guys. Earmuffs.
Right. So she did mention that Josh Gates may be on that on the Queen Mary as well. So so that'd be kind of cool. So I didn't feel as bad if we didn't get a chance to meet him, because he might be on the Queen Mary. So that'll be good.
Yeah. That's right.
Yeah, it was very. Oh, and I got a chance to meet Katrina Weidman. She has done a couple of shows on Travel Portals to Hell. She did with Jack Osborne, and then her and Nick Groff had a show together. Paranormal Lockdown. Katrina might be my favorite investigator, because she is not, if she's afraid of anything, she doesn't show it. She is kind of, to me, she's just a badass. She doesn't run. All these people will run, and she stays. Like, she stays and she listens. Jamie's a runner, everybody.
Runner.
Jamie's pushing people, trying to get out of the way. Get me out of here.
Yeah. I'm just very jumpy.
Yes. Totally understandable.
Yeah.
But yes, she was very, very nice, and asked where I was from. I told her Michigan. She asked if I drove, and I said I did. She was like, what is that, like 10 hours? And I said, well, I was like 8.5, 9-ish hours. Yeah. Apparently she had done an investigation somewhere in Michigan, she said, and she lives in Pennsylvania. And so she was like, we were done and something had happened with their hotel rooms and it wasn't working out. So she's like, so I just got in the car and I drove all the way home after an investigation. So from Michigan to
Oh,
Pennsylvania. Yeah. So she was like,
wow.
yeah. So that would have been kind of rough.
Yeah. It's
But
a
yeah,
long drive.
yeah, long drive. So
Yeah.
she was so nice. And then I met Patty Negri, and she is a psychic medium, also kind of a white witch who
Okay.
is on ghost adventures from time to time. And I can't tell you what it was about. I don't know. I felt like drawn to Patty Negri. And
Okay.
she's not the first witch I have felt this way about, too. Because I also feel like when I watch, we've talked about Steve Shippey's documentary. He has a white witch that comes on occasion. If you guys ended up watching the Shock doc about Hell House,
right.
And then Adams Street about his haunted museum, there is a witch that will come sometimes, Miss Aida. Yeah. And I feel like the same thing with Miss Aida. I don't know
Yeah. The woo woo podcast that I sent you, that episode, I was like,
I listened.
Yes. Oh yeah. I was like,
I listened to it.
This is so familiar to
right?
me. There's so many things. Yeah. I get it. Yeah.
Yeah. I really one day I feel like I want to meet Miss Aida, but then I got to meet Patty Negri and it was the same thing. Like I couldn't help myself. Like when I saw her, I was just like, I love you. I was like, I'm so excited to meet you because I just love you. And she was very kind and nice. And so and you can even tell, once again, I'll post the pictures. Like I'm smiling in all the pictures, but with my picture with Patty Negri, like my smile, I was. You can see. I try not to smile with my teeth because of my brace situation. So I'm always close lipped when I'm smiling. This one, I was like, forget it. I was like, I was so happy. Aww. I don't know what it is. I'm beginning to think like, I don't know if I come from which people. I don't know if I am one. I don't know what it is, but it was a different feeling when I met her. I was just like, I don't know, but she was just so nice. Cool. Yes. They also had so they had animal adoptions there too. Aww. They have representatives from Brandywine Valley had brought all their puppies, and it was such a great place to do that because I think almost everyone got adopted, which was awesome. It was
that's smart. That's a smart way to do it. Yeah.
Yes. But oh my gosh, it was so.
I probably would have ended up with a puppy because I am such a sucker when they're right there. Oh.
Yep. That's what they're banking on. Like they're like, we're in your face, we're licking your face, we're playing. Oh, yeah. So cute.
Oh yeah.
Oh my gosh. So yes, it was they had a couple of kittens, but it was mostly puppies and dogs, smaller dogs that were there. And it was so nice. The volunteers would just walk around the grounds with them, or you could go to the spot where they had them. Yeah, it was really, really nice.
Sounds like an awesome experience.
It was really, really cool. I thought it was great. I had a great experience. I'm excited. I would love to go back next year. And like I said, I would love to go where we could just go and do a ghost hunt sometimes with not as many people.
Right. Yeah. I'm sure it was really crowded because of the Paracon. So
yeah. And we ended up so the first day we were there, it was pretty hot. It was I felt like almost unseasonably hot for May. I don't know. It was very warm and humid, but my goodness, by Sunday it was gorgeous. It was perfect. So yeah, great weather, great people. Everyone was just so nice and kind, and I would do it all over again. It was great.
That's awesome. I'm so glad you got to do that. And thanks for telling us about it and sharing. Yeah. It's great. Great stuff.
Yes. Sorry, it was very long-winded, but I wanted to fit everything in. It was really cool.
Yeah, you did great. I love it. I loved it all.
Good.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's our show this week.
Yes. It was a good one.
Yeah, good. Yeah, Pennhurst. It's quite a place. It really is.
Yeah. Yep. On my list. My list is so huge. I gotta get moving. I get moving on it.
There's so many great places out there. So yeah. Yep. But we'll get there. We'll get through it all. Don't worry.
Yes, we will. Awesome. Thank you
right.
so much,
Yeah.
everybody. Thanks for
everyone
listening.
For tuning in. Yep. Baby Baphomet says, have a great week.
Yes. Look at
Yeah,
that cutie.
I know. He's adorable. This guy wouldn't hurt a fly.
Right.
Great. Yeah. Please. All right. Well, everyone have a great week. We'll see you back here next week. Take care.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.